Hi, my name is Charles Burton. I'm the director of Grand Rapids Community College Learning Corner, and we're here today to talk to you regarding our CQUIN group. CQUIN means Continuous Quality Improvement Network, and what we wanted to do is the topic of our conversation during CQUIN was discussing a student-centered learning environment. And once we got back to Grand Rapids, Michigan, after we left our conference, we talked about the student-centered learning environment, and one of the topics came up regarding African American men, mentoring them, and we also wanted to just ask you all several questions about your learning here at Grand Rapids Community College. So we're going to ask you just a few questions. When we ask the questions, everybody don't have to feel that you have to answer every question. But we're going to pass the mic around. Before we get going, we'd like to start off with introductions. If you could at least start off by saying what is your career goal, what you like to study in college, and your name. So we're going to start off with DeMarcus, and then we're going to go on to Mr. St. Clair, if you could.
My name is DeMarcus, and my career goals is I would like to be a doctor.
My name is Keith St. Clair. I teach political science at Grand Rapids Community College.
My name is Todd McGill, and I'm studying culinary arts and management.
And I'm Nancy Force, and I teach mathematics at the community college.
My name is Albert Williams, and I'm studying business management. Career goals of being an entrepreneur.
My name is Peter Kortenhoven, and I'm studying business.
My name is Daniel Evans, and I am studying heating and cooling, and also want to be a motivational speaker.
My name is Mark Williams, and I'm studying aviation maintenance.
Thank you. One of our first questions that we're going to go ahead and ask you, it's going to be a series of a few questions, are what are your career goals? And I'm going to ask Keith and Nancy if they could just kind of chime in. We don't have to ask these questions in order, and if there's some follow-up questions that you'd like to ask, feel free to do so. But what are your career goals? I know that we heard you talking about what you're studying, but what are some of your career goals? Get the mic.
Well, I like to be a doctor personally because I just feel like sometimes when I watch TV, it's like, you know what I'm saying, like the doctors, they, you know what I'm saying, help people out. And I feel like since I go to church and I think that God is the head of my life, I feel like I should be able to help people out. So that's like the main reason I like to be a doctor.
Okay, thank you.
Well, my career goal is to eventually own my own restaurant and catering business. So I chose culinary arts, the management, so I can get a degree in both the chef aspect of it as well as the management aspect of it.
Well, my career goals is to start some type of franchise around the city, my community, build up others around me, because we don't have so many successful black males in our community, and I feel like I can uplift my community by being successful myself.
Well, my basic career goal is just to become like a businessman, work in a good company, and basically just be able to like provide for my family, provide for friends, and basically take care of people that need help to be taken care of, basically.
Well, mine is that I just like dealing with my hands and heating and cooling. I think that's fit for me. But also with the motivational speaking, I just also want to encourage people that they can move on with their life and do better in their life if they think they can. So I wanted this help.
Well, my career goal is basically having a career in the military, working on planes, which is something I really want to do. I've been doing aviation maintenance for 2 years, and I plan on doing more training in the military.
Thank you. All right. Keith, would you please ask
Next
questions?
Sure. What type of relationship would any of you like to have with your instructors at Grand Rapids Community College?
My relationship, I would like to have a one-on-one relationship where I can actually tell my instructor what my situation is going on and what I really need help with if I don't understand it, where I can just, instead of me like raising up my hand, and because I'll be raising up my hand sometimes when I ask the question, I feel uncomfortable, so I would like to talk to the teacher, maybe outside of the classroom and whatnot. So I want to have that one-on-one relationship with the teacher, just to talk.
With my math teacher, I like to have a one-on-one like student to teacher too, because like in my math class, like it's pretty hard or whatever, like advanced or whatever, and like I'm the only black person in the class, so like sometimes I feel like out of place, like I don't like raise my hands to ask questions like when I have questions, because I sometimes think like it'd be a stupid question. And then like sometimes we do like group work, like for some reason I get like stuck with the people that I'm smarter than, and like the smart people usually work together. So if I had like that one-on-one friendship and professor to student basis with the teacher, then I feel like, you know what I'm saying, I would do better.
What math class are you taking?
107, algebra.
Well, as an instructor, I can tell you that I like to have one-on-one time with my students. We all have office hours at the college. Unfortunately, I like many instructors, are disappointed on how few students actually take advantage of them. But yeah, if most instructors are like me, they would love to have you come in, meet with us, some one-on-one in our office hours, going over anything that you have problems with. But in addition to that, you should be aware that everybody, I think, in the class that I teach is afraid on some level of somehow not knowing the answers to a question and being afraid to ask a question. I think it's a fear that most students have. I don't think it's uncommon at all. And if only we could all get over that and ask those questions, I think the class would be a much better experience for all, because I know that usually the case is most other students have the very same question. They're just also afraid to ask it.
Somebody else want to address that particular one?
Well, I feel like I would like a one-on-one bond with my instructor, because I feel that, I mean, I'm at an age in my life that, I mean, a lot of students are younger than me in the classroom, and I feel that, you know, they just now getting out of high school, and then, I mean, I've been out of school for a while, so it's more like I have a lot of catching up to do, and I feel like if I have a one-on-one bond with my instructor, it would be more easier with me, because I can take my time, explain what I'm not understanding and what part that I am understanding. I mean, it's more of a communication level with instructors more than just being in a classroom with about maybe 20 people, because my question sometimes doesn't be answered because they have other, like 19 other students to answer that, other questions that they having trouble on. So I feel like, you know, if I can take my time with that instructor, get a bond, he know what level I'm at and his, you know, right now in his subject, then it'll be easier for me to catch up. So.
Nancy, would you ask the next question?
Sure, for another question. Now, it's a lengthy question. Bear with me as I come through. Number 3 is long here. What's your perception of GRCC staff's treatment of African American males? And then they give some examples of, for instance, who wear do-rags, at least sagging pants, okay, body piercing, cornrows, or tattoos. So, and you could add whatever you would want to the list, but do you feel that affects your treatment, you know, in a certain way, or anybody want to make comment about that?
Sorry.
Yeah, I would like to address that. I think there is a double standard to some degree. The do-rags and the certain type of dress that is typical with black youth and Hispanic youth is not just targeted to them. It's also influenced by the white youth. They also wear do-rags and pants sag and body piercing. I think the teachers now are more aware of that type of dress, excuse me, and the culture that's going on with young people today. I think they're more familiar with it and they've gotten used to that. I don't think the treatment is that much different, because I think they pretty much put everybody in that same group. Blacks, the African Americans stand out more because of the expressions that we have with the way our bodies move, the way we walk, the way we talk. You know, we've been known to have a certain type of charisma and style in that area. To say that I think the teachers might discriminate, I think it might be kind of harsh. Maybe if some of them do that, they probably don't fully understand, but I think most instructors now are familiar with that type of dress.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that because personally, like some days I wear do-rags, hats, and like I even wear pajamas to school, and I haven't been treated no different. You know, like the teachers, like they might say something about it and laugh it off, but for the most part, you know, I'm treated the same. I get graded based on, you know, the work that I do and the valuability of my work. So.
I really don't think that they should actually judge about what we wear and what we do, but as long as we go to class and do the work and get the job done, we still can be successful as another person who don't have tattoos or any clothes like that. So I think that just don't judge about what you see, just judge by how we do the work and how hard that we study, and just to be successful in life. That's what I think.
Thank you.
Do you feel that's the reality of it? I mean, at the level of this question, I agree with you. That's exactly what should happen. But is that what is happening?
A little. I don't see it a lot because I really don't get approached about how I dress or anything like that. But I do see it in the area, like on main campus, for example, that people do have do-rags and also have long chains and everything. And I think I got kind of like there's a little bit of feeling that some people probably relate to that, like, well, that person ain't here for the right thing, you know, or it is here just to be doing it, or maybe their parents forced them to do it or whatever. But I think they just should just judge about, you know, how they feel and, you know, how they work stand out and how it comes. So that's how I just feel.
Well, on that behalf, I figure, a teacher really can't tell how I'm dressed once my score is right there on the table. I mean, just by seeing my name, they don't know unless they know me personally. And if you know me personally, then, you know, it's more of the education I'm looking forward to than how my appearance is to you. I mean, you can consider, this guy, he's a flashy dress, or he dressed down, he's this and that. But when that score, I don't think it reflects on my score because, I mean, you know, I put as much effort into my work as the next person who comes in with maybe a business code or not. I mean, because some days I feel like, I want to dress in just suits and khakis and blazers, and some days I don't. I want to come in with jeans on, and I don't think none of my instructors, I mean, personally, that I think they really grade me on my clothing, my appearance more than, you know, my work and my productivity, you know.
I'll ask the next question. What are some of the major barriers that you think that cause or stop African American young men to stop out of school or drop out of school? What are some major barriers that you face?
One of the major barriers is basically is also with finances, that we really don't have enough income to carry on with school, and sometimes that we do have a job and we can't work around our schedule before we could go to school, so then we have to get like 1 or 2 schools. But then again, we also got to pay with our own money, and we don't have no much support just to do it. And it's more harder for a lot of African Americans, because a lot of African Americans really don't think about going to college right when they get out of high school. We just think about working because we just think, well, that's what's been going on, and that's what we see, and that's what we do. So basically, we really don't think about going to college. So we got like a permanent job and working let's say for 9 or 10 hours, and we haven't think about going to school till we want to change our life around. Then when we do try to change our life around by trying to go to school, we really got to pay for it. Then we don't have enough money to pay for our finances at home to actually live, and then also trying to pay for school, and then it'd be a struggle. So a lot of people don't go forward and go to school because of that. And some situations that some people also have disabilities and they don't feel like they're ready to go to school. So we need more support into that society for we can get that disability taken care of, where we could say, okay, I can be successful and go on with my life, because a lot of African Americans, we really not ready to go to school, to go to college, because we never experienced it, and some of our families never experienced it, so we don't know how to relate to it. But when we do get in there, we will struggle because we feel like we're not ready and we don't belong here, so we just turn our backs against it. And I just wonder, we just need more help in that situation.
Well, I think it's more like motivation. I mean, because a lot of kids, we go to high school, and we're not really motivated to go to college. We look at it on a short-term goal instead of a long-term goal. We think, well, 4 years from now, maybe if I'm working at this job for 4 years, I can maybe make as much money as I will make after 4 years of college. And that's not true, because simple fact, if that effort, I mean, the average high school student, graduate only makes maybe $20,000 a year. I mean, and a lot of African Americans in our community doesn't look at it like that. They look at it, well, I'm making $500 every 2 weeks. And I mean, that's not really affordable for you to go to school and pay for your home as well as work and school. It just is so congested trying to maintain and survive in the city. I mean, in the city, it's hard to survive with making $7 an hour. And I mean, so we feel like, well, we satisfied with that. A lot of us accept that $750, $850. And I mean, that's something that we shouldn't accept. And then we figured like, well, $750, I guess that's the best I can do. And then it's not necessarily, because if you put in that 4 years, you can quadruple that. But I mean, it's more of a motivation. And then we don't have a lot of people in our community to uplift that. Like for instance, Mr. Burke and other instructors around that mainly say, okay, you can go ahead and you actually have the ability of doing that. I mean, we shortchange ourselves a lot.
I think the biggest barrier that we have as male Africans is a lack of communication. We don't know most of the programs that are here to help us, especially minorities. And we just go in and we get discouraged just like that within 2 or 3 weeks, I'm guessing. And I think that's one of the biggest barriers. It's just lack of communication and lack of knowing what programs are there to help us.
I agree with motivation, but I also think that like African Americans, we make a lot of excuses. Cause like I'll be talking to somebody and I'll be like, I'll help you with this, man. You can do it. Like I motivate like certain people that I know. You know what I'm saying? He'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna come over and we gonna do this and we gonna do that, and you know what I'm saying, they won't show up, and then we come to class and he don't have it done. Then it's, oh, well, I didn't have time. You know what I'm saying? Well, you have to make time. You know what I'm saying, to do your work if you want to get it done. And a lot of people, they want to, have fun, It's cool to have fun, but you also have to know that you have work to do. And if you're not getting the work done, then, you're just not going to get it done. So I think excuses is like another big barrier that we have.
Well, I think what everybody said is an accurate point. I think one of the biggest reasons why a lot of young African American males especially don't go to college is because of what they see around them. We have traditionally done what we see other people do. And the TV and the culture has a lot to do with that. In Michigan alone, I don't know if any of you noticed, but more money is spent on prisons, and there's more black men in prison than in colleges in Michigan. Now, that has a lot to do with certain type of crimes that's being committed. But if the state continually put money into prison systems and jails, then that alone is going to affect how black men turn out after they get out of high school. Because to fund that prison system, it takes money away from the elementary schools, the high schools. It takes money out of the teachers' pockets. All of our parents and all of our working wealth pretty much goes into the system. So that alone will limit what our kids and our younger brothers and sisters in them get through school. They see family members go off and be gone a long time. They see teachers that aren't getting paid enough to motivate to have the programs and to have the extracurricular activities to motivate young people to continue to want to go to college. So I think that has a lot to do with why a lot of black men especially don't make it to college. And also, they lose focus. They see people making the quick money. They see school as being a waste. Basically, if you go into school, some of these elementary schools around here don't even have heat. So, if they start and get discouraged at 8, 9, 10 years old, by the time they get 13, 14, they've lost their hope. So I think that's one of the biggest reasons why black men don't make it to college.
Before we get to Peter, I'd like to ask you, what do you mean quick money? What does a quick money mean?
Well, drug dealing money, hustle money, even a job. A job's a hustle. You know what I mean? It's that quick money for a quick gratification. If they can get a job, as Al said, and they get some money, then they see that their future in college will be wasted. You know, why go to school when I can make $300 or $400 a week, if not $300 or $400 a day? You know, we're not looking at the long-term effect down the line, 10, 15, 20 years from now. We're looking at, you know, what's going on right now, 5 or 20 minutes from now. So once you satisfy that urge, then school is forgotten about. And I think as a government teacher, I think, forgot your name.
Yeah, that's me.
I think Keith probably knows some other reasons on that area too, I think.
I think you've done a good job of bringing them out, actually. I think what I've heard here is what I've heard elsewhere, and I think you've got done a good job of articulating it as well.
I actually agree with what you said about the quick money thing. I think a lot of teenagers and like young adults, basically, that's probably the biggest problem, really, because you see like your cousins and uncles and stuff. Everybody just has not everything, but they have the clothes, they have this and that. And when you're like struggling to go to school, and then you get that $300 check, you know, like the scholarship that your counselor might give you or something. And then within a couple weeks, that's gone because you have to buy, you might have to buy groceries, stuff like that. So when you see your relatives getting that money so fast, you're just gonna think, why should I even go to school? They're doing it fine, you know. And then another big thing that I think that we should do more as a whole is on campus we should be more accountable for each other. Like we should back each other up, help each other out with homework. When somebody needs help, anything, just be there for them, basically.
Yeah. Shall I move on to another question,
Yes,
Charles? And you don't mind that they're out of order?
Yes, that's okay.
Because as I look here, one question to ask you is what Learning Corner, at the Learning Corner at Wellesley, qualities or support systems you have here do you need to be successful on the main campus of the community college? And as far as if we get people in school, what things will help keep it, keep them going, and as you talk about supporting each other, etc. So what qualities have you found that you've used here could we incorporate on the main campus?
I think the biggest thing is just like a trust, because I know that before I started school, I didn't really trust my instructors, like in high school, and even in life in general. I'm just not a very trusting person. I can't just go out and just trust you. So one thing about the Learning Corner is I came here and I met Mr. Burt, and it was instantly just like a person who I thought I could trust, and I could talk to him about personal things, just everything in general, And now I become, he's actually one of my good friends because I can talk to him about anything. And that's a good thing about just having a smaller area where he can see you that you're down or whatever. He'll come up to you, ask you what's going on in your life. You'll talk to him about that. But down on the main campus, there's just so many people and so much going on that you don't ever really get a chance to talk to your instructor. You got to make an appointment with them. You don't ever see them in the halls, It's just always so structured, and there needs to be more like a friendship or more like a family bond.
Well, that is what I feel like when I'm here, I'm with family. I mean, just like I said, I can go to Mr. Burke with my problems, whether it's work problems or maybe family-related problems. It is just, like he said, a bond with our instructors and a bond with the people here that we have. It makes it so much easier to come to school, because even if I'm having that problem at home, I could come here and still feel a little comfort because of the fact I'm getting my education, as well as I'm around people who I feel that I'm receiving that much love back. And as well as, here people take their time to help you out. If I'm having a problem, I don't have to worry about, well, maybe he got about 15 other students that he have to worry about. He will make time for you, and as well as the other instructors, they will make time for you to actually get that job done. And if, I mean, but like he said, on campus, everything moving at such a fast pace, it's actually hard to keep up and actually someone to slow down and actually help you out, because everybody's on the move. Everybody's trying to keep up on that same steady pace, and it's harder. And I mean, like, but when I come here, it's just like, okay, I can relax. If I'm having an issue that I need to be dealt with, then I mean, I can go to maybe him, other people around here, maybe instructor, or maybe even my fellow students I can go to, because everybody here seems like they got a word of wisdom that's uplifting.
Well, yeah. Well, my experience here at the Learning Corner is like I really get to know myself and also get to know more people, because I'll say that, for example, it's like you pitting a baby, like the Learning Corner is basically like a baby. You know, everything is also slow. You can't pit a baby you can't put like a newborn baby into a shoulder and say walk, you know. And I see that the main campus, just like you put a new baby in a shoulder and go ahead and tell him to walk, but it can't because it haven't developed yet. And I see that the Learning Corner just like that. You need time to actually develop and to say, okay, I do fit in school and I know I can do this. It's like the Learning Corner just like a motivation that you know that you can do it right when you're in the system, because you feel more confident that you can do the work and you know what you got to be done, instead of getting at the Learning Corner and you can't even talk to the instructor like you can talk to the instructor here. You know, it's the instructor just saying, give me a paper, this and that, instead of saying, okay, well, I have a problem with this situation right here and down here, and that's what it fit. And I feel like I'm in a baby process stage and growing up before I could get in that, point where I could walk. So so this right here is basically teaching me to get on the main campus and say, you can do it. You know, you've already been through this stage, because right now you was already at the baby, and now you grown, now you can go ahead and do it. So that's what I see the Learning Corner as. It's a family. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that, and I also like congratulate Dr. Burt, because like when I first came, like Dr. Burt, like he just approached me, like I can talk to him about anything too. Like you can have fun with Dr. Burt, like, you know what I'm saying, he crack jokes sometime, and you know you will laugh, or you might laugh at like what he wearing, or he might laugh, you know what I'm saying, or laugh at you. You know what I'm saying? It make me feel like, you know what I'm saying, you have fun and you learn at the same time. And like whenever you have a problem, you can always, you know what I'm saying, come to Dr. Burt and he'll do what he can to help you. And you know what I'm saying, that's what the society really need, like a person like that. And that's why I think the Learning Corner is a good place.
Anybody else on that question? The next question prepared here is, how has this country's drug epidemic affected your life?
Well, I mean, I haven't been perfect. I mean, no one is. So, I mean, I have my past problems, but it's just, I don't see myself as making a drug is my career. I never did. So I had to step out of that circle, focus on things that are going to make me successful, something I can look at, well, maybe 15 years from now that I'll be owning maybe a major corporation or doing something that's more positive than worry about the drugs out here. And I mean, it's killing our community. Everywhere you go, I try to tell my nephews all the time. I mean, I work 40 hours a week, you know, and plus I come to school every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So, I mean, it's just like, the drugs is pulling our youth to the street. I mean, it's pulling our youth down. And the more that our youth is looking at all these guys, these drug dealers with big rims, cars, jewelry, I mean, it excites them right then and there. And instead, they feel like, well, I don't need to go to school. I'll just go ahead and kick it with my uncle, and he'll go ahead and show me the ropes of how to roam through the streets. But I mean, that's only caused death in jail. I mean, so that's something that affected our community a whole lot, because you see a lot of our African American males are in prison right now over drug related activities. And I mean, it's a downfall, but we need more motivation through our community so people know that that is not the way to go. That's not how I want to live my life. That's not, I mean, because that's not a long life to live. I mean, drugs have killed our community since the early 80s. And I mean, and I feel like it should be something that, I mean, prevent it. I mean, I don't say that police should go ahead and jump on every African American out here thinking that they selling drugs. I mean, but it should be aware of it. I mean, be more aware about what's going on in the community, how drugs are affecting us, and I mean, invest more in education. I mean, the police force is just rapidly building. And I mean, the education level is going down. I mean, a lot of our youth feeling like, well, I don't have no choice but to sell drugs. And that's so wrong that we have choices. We have so many choices out here. And it's just like they seeing what's going on in the music videos. I mean, so many rappers saying they sold drugs so long and this and that, but there's no future in that. So, I mean, it's a real downfall to our community. I mean, it hurt us so bad that our youth is actually growing up seeing that. So, I mean, we need more people inspiring, say that, you know, that's why I personally want to be an entrepreneur, because I feel like, well, I have so many qualifications that I feel that I can uplift not only me, but my nephews, people, their friends, maybe people around me, maybe their nephews. I mean, I just want to make sure that drugs is be eliminated in our community. I mean, because I feel there's no success in it.
And I agree everything that you have said, and I'm not perfect either, because I used to do the same thing. So I made a choice in my life to come to school and also quit everything that I have did. But I also see that some people in the black communities they look at the fast money as that's their life, and they also do it for get to respect. And that's sometimes they do it to get respect and say I'm better than that other person. It's like a competing. If I got this, another person mad at me, that giving me more fame just because I got it what he want. And then keep on having a lot of black people looking at that and say, I want to be just like that person, so I got to do this and do that, so I got to start selling this and get this, and then that end up making them, you know, jealousy in the world and also jealous in our community is it also just kill that person. You know what I'm saying? That's what they look at, because drugs basically lead to death or jail, and that's what they really see. But they don't look at death or jail. They just look at, I want to be better than that person. So yeah, they have living a fast life, so they want to be better than that person. So that really hurt our community. And I think they just need to wake up and say, it's time to, you know what I'm saying, quit, and I wish I could change my life. Because some people that's in jail right now sitting and saying, I wish I could have changed it. But why you want to sit in there and wait for a long part of time so that you can just make that choice? So I think a lot of the youth should just realize and say, okay, I really do need to slow down and get my life back in focus like I want to be, because, you know, I need that.
Yeah, I agree with everything you brothers have said, but there's also one other thing that the drugs have done to our communities. It's caused a giant country of addiction. You know, you have a whole country, well, not everybody, but there's a large portion of people that are addicted to drugs, and through the drug epidemic, it also has caused a rise in alcoholism and certain type of crime. Just the fact of being addicted to drugs alone, it destroys not only the mind, but it destroys the body. You know, through that you get all type of sicknesses and illnesses, and it's done a devastating effect to the black community, because a large portion, as you said, is in prisons or jails for selling, but a large portion is addicted and not able to get their motivation back. They lose their self-esteem. They take all their wealth and all their resources into either supporting their habit or trying to come up with some money to sell. So it's had a double effect.
Can I address that one more time? Because it's something I feel like. Well, I feel like, I mean, like we said, drugs been ruining our community for years, and now it's starting to reach outside our community. So it's now really picking up that recognition, like methamphetamines. I mean, everybody know. I'm quite sure you guys seen this so much on the news that meth labs being busted. So now it's really becoming recognized how it actually kills a community. I mean, it's been killing the black community for so long. Now it's reaching outside our community. They really trying to really crack down and take effect on it. And I mean, it's like, well, why didn't you try this maybe 5-10 years ago? I mean, you know, now all of a sudden it's affecting your community. It's actually at your next door neighbor's house. Now you want to recognize it. But I mean, you know, that's something should have been recognized years ago, before you build up these 5 prisons incarcerating our fellow black brothers, you know. So I feel like now they really drawing attention to it.
In relation to what we're talking about as far as like police being involved, et cetera, with the Grcc police on campus, those of you who spend time on the main campus, how do you feel in the presence of a GRCC security or police officer? Is that a comfortable experience? Is that a supportive experience? Or is that uncomfortable?
Tell you the truth, I haven't had no experience with them, you know, so I haven't bothered. I haven't, for myself in general, I haven't bothered to open up with them, you know, so I haven't had no situation or no fights or anything like that on the main campus. So, and I really don't see a lot of them on the main campus anyway. So, I mean, I really don't know what to say about that, but I really don't, you know, relate to them.
I've had an experience with one of the police officers, and honestly, they treated me with respect. You know, they greeted me kindly, which was a good thing.
Well, basically, with the cops on campus, it's more of a comfort thing. I feel more comfortable around them. If they're not around, I don't really care, but it's when they are around, it doesn't really bother me as much. But usually, because experiences I had in the past with police officers, there's always been more of a, if I see a cop coming down the road and I'm walking the sidewalk, it tends to be more like, oh, I hope he doesn't look at me, or I'm going to turn around and go the other way. But when I'm downtown, I see a cop come by, you know, I just might say hi to him or whatever. It's sort of building that trust that used to be there when I was younger. That's not there really anymore, but it's, you know, it's helping that trust come back.
Well, I've never been intimidated by the police down in Grand Rapids or GRCC, and I feel like, well, it doesn't bother me because they see so many various cultures down there, so they really is not really prejudging a person whether they pants are saggy, they're wearing a do-rag. So I don't really have no problems with the GRCC officers because, like I said, they see so many different cultures down there. They don't focus on one. I haven't seen them actually come down on an African-American male or a female. I never seen them come off on an Asian or Caucasian. I mean, they have an open mind to, if you do a crime, whatever color you is, you going down for it. I mean, that's the one thing that we need to enforce mainly on our city police officers than just our GRCC. I mean, maybe they can inspire them more to just look at people as people instead of just color.
Well, as a faculty member at Grand Rapids Community College, I'm kind of surprised by your answers because I remember attending university, and as a student, all students, I think, felt completely harassed by the police officers in the towns that we went to university. And I think there was a lot of validity to those criticisms, but I'm happy to hear that the police department at Grand Rapids Community College does not give you the same experiences that I felt when I was at university. I'm glad that you welcome their presence and that you don't feel harassed by them. I hadn't thought about this question before, but I welcome that answer.
I'm going to ask the next question. At Grand Rapids Community College, we have a very high rate of incompletion or drop rate of African American students that withdraw from college, that don't complete their classes. And we'd like to ask you all, why is it that you think that many of our African Americans lose their interest and don't complete?
I think it just go back to the in the beginning that they really don't have no support. You know, they really don't have no support and no help. But I think they actually look at the Learning Corner, for example, and get a Learning Corner a try. I think they can actually be successful by taking this step first and then go further on their life instead of just feeling like on main campus that's already been on here. And I feel like I've been rushed by doing things and I didn't understand any things. And then they end up dropping out because they don't have the good grades or they feel like they can't do it anymore. But I think they actually get a Learning Corner a chance. And sit down, they can get to know themselves and also do the work. That's what I think.
Basically what I think is, as a whole, I think a lot of African Americans and minorities in general, since a lot of them, their parents didn't go to college or, so they're not really, like he said, they don't come with that support. And a lot of times, not with me, I'm lucky enough to have a supporting family, but a lot of them, their parents look at it as, oh, you're going to college now, you know, you think you're big and bad, you know, you're going to college, you think you're better than us, you know, a lot of that stuff comes into it. And those people, their whole lives, they've been, you know, sort of thought as like, he's just going to be like uncle whoever, or you're just going to be like this, or you're stupid, whatever. So when they actually make it, their parents, they're sort of surprised that they made it, you know, so they don't have that support, and they go to school and maybe they'll struggle on something, and then they'll start thinking back to thinking, hey, I wasn't even supposed to be here in the first place. You know, they'll make a mistake, and when they drop out, a lot of them, people don't miss them. They leave and they say, okay, it was true, you know. But one thing from the Learning Corner, we've had experiences where kids have just left, you know. They said, I'm tired of school, you know, I'm done with this, whatever. But other students and teachers will call them up, let them know, you know, like, hey, we care about you. Where have you been? You haven't been here, you know. Are you all right? You know, they'll make them feel like they can do it, you know. And basically, a few students actually come back to school and are continuing today, you know.
Well, a lot of African American males, we feel like we jumping on a moving train. I mean, everything is going past us so fast. It's so fast. So how can we run and catch up and jump on that train? I mean, and it's hard. I mean, considering some people haven't been in school in a while. So therefore they look at it, well, will I be able to catch up? And then they feel like maybe a test score wasn't as high as they thought it was. Instead of just putting an extra effort into it and going back at it, going harder at it, they figure, well, I can just go ahead and forget about it. I can't do it anyways. They lose that motivation. They lose that interest. You know, that train is going too fast for me to jump up on it. And I mean, you know, like he said, we've been fortunate enough to have the Learning Corner here, you know, keep us aboard that train, keep moving. If, you know, my legs may get weary and tired, but Charles and other faculty, they're not going to allow me just to stumble and fall. They're going to let me keep going, whether I feel like, you know, I'm slacking off a little bit, because, I mean, we all slack off sometimes, but it just, we have people around here that motivate us to keep on going, you know, build up that extra second wind and just keep going.
Okay, I'll ask the next question, and maybe I'll direct it to Wilney, because who came with me. What motivated you to go to college?
I grew up and I became one of the first, you know, people in my family to go to college. But, you know, even though my parents, you know, they didn't have the opportunity to go to college before, but they kind of raised me in a sort of way, you know, that teaches me, you know, that college is a good way to, you know, to make something out of yourself in life. And, you know, as I go through life and, you know, witness what's going on around me, and I finally realized that they are right. And, you know, this is a way, you know, to kind of get me, you know, motivated. You see what I mean? Like, you know, go on and try to do my best. That's what motivates me.
I forgot the question.
What motivated you to go to college? There's the question.
Well, what motivated me was the hard time trying to find adequate work. Having suffered some setbacks, I saw college as a way of improving not only my education, but improving my self-esteem, my life, improving my friends around me, meeting new people, meeting people with learning on their mind instead of just the everyday chit-chat that really won't get you far. So what motivated me was to obtain a degree in culinary arts and the management aspect of it, and to just keep building on my life one step at a time until I actually achieve some of the dreams and the goals that I set out to achieve. So that's what motivated me.
Well, what motivated me to go to college is just that, like what happened to you one night. He was the first, and I also was the first too. And I also got like a big family and everything. I'm talking about I'm the first to go to college through all of my uncles, my aunties, and everything. I mean, nobody went to college. You know, they always went to high school and graduated from high school and just got a job and just worked, but they never took this step just to go to college or whatever. And I want to stop that curse because I also got little sisters and also nieces and nephews that also in middle school and all the elementary and everything. I want them to see that they uncle and they brother and they cousin have went, you know what I'm saying, he had went to school. So basically, I know they can do it too. So I want to stop that for they can see me as a successful and saying, okay, well, my brother did it. Well, you know, he can do it. I know I can do it. So I want to stop that curse. So that's what really motivated me and also better up my life because I want to be somebody.
Motivated me to go to college was, I felt like I was shortchanging myself. I had so many big goals, and I felt like I couldn't accomplish it without a degree. You know, as well as I want to be able to sit around a round table, be able to have intelligent conversation as well as my peers and as well as, you know, my youth. Because some of fact, I say without a college education, you just shorten yourself because people look at that. A lot of jobs say it doesn't really make a difference, but it does. It makes so much of a difference. It's a good feeling. And I feel like I shortened my youth. Not going to college, I was short in my youth. I didn't get to experience that at university life. I didn't get a chance to go ahead and have the freedom as leaving home. You know, it just, college gave me the opportunity of saying that, well, AJ, here, you have an opportunity to be much more than what you ever expected. You know, and I feel like I can be more than I ever expected. My goals is unlimited. There's unlimited things that I can do with myself as well. You know, I want to be an inspiration for those who are under me. You know, I have 17 nieces and nephews. They all in middle school and high school, and I feel like, you know, a lot of my family did go to college. But they look up to me as well because a lot of them doesn't have their father around. You know, and then I'm being raised around a lot of women, so I feel like, okay, I have to be that male to step up in their life, to see that is, you know, possibilities are there. You know, it's endless possibilities after college. I want to get my master's. I want to do so much, and then I want to start my own business. And you know, I want to be very successful so they can look at it and say, hey, there go my uncle. Yeah, he have his own business. He went to college. You know, he slacked up a little bit, but he picked up his feet and he kept walking.
One thing that I forgot to mention, I'm from Haiti, and for those of you who probably have heard about it, it's been on, it wasn't in the news like by the beginning of 2004, with the political crisis that was going on there. During my time in high school, when I was there, I kind of witnessed like the hunger, of the young people from Haiti to learn. But, somehow they cannot benefit from that learning because the government system, the system kind of failed them. Because I remember I was so lucky, to attend one of the most prestigious school, in the country. But, at the end of each year, you would see all those students, coming from all over the place, especially the public schools. They would be in line, waiting to to ask us questions as students, who have the opportunities like to attend good schools. They all eager to learn with us, share our notes, whatever we learned, they wanted to learn it because, for some reason, political, economical, social reason, the teachers, the instructors, they just decide to not show up because they're not getting paid. And really, you cannot do anything about that because that was their only source of income. And, once you start paying them, they have no reason, to show up. So I kind of learned the value of a good education through that. So that's one of my strongest motivation as well.
Another thing I forgot to mention though was my family around me. Like a lot of the other guys said, they were the first, like you said, women the first to go in your family. All my brothers and sisters went to college but me. My aunts and a lot of our family friends, they all attended. So they have always encouraged me and asked me to go, to do something instead of just working a job or trying to just make by with just a high school education. So they also motivated me as well. So I want to give them the credit that they deserve because they worked hard to get to where they were at. and I kind of like to see them where they're at right now. So I would also want to kind of be on that same level and that same professional status that they are on. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Actually, I'd like to ask a question. It's not on the list. No. And that is, we have discussion on campus, and knowing that we want to provide more support for students. We know it's a need. We know how important it is. And so that's why now I got somebody here to give us some feedback, okay? It's one thing to talk about the need, and it's another thing to actually put something in action. And so, for instance, if we were to organize a situation where, whether you call it an advisor, whoever, somebody that you could have a continuous contact with, somebody maybe you'd been in their class or maybe never were, but through the whole time that you were attending GRCC, you could always go back to that person to ask a specific question about it. Would it be more comfortable and valuable to you to have one-on-one time with them, like meet with them once every 2 weeks, etc., or do you think you'd feel more comfortable doing that in a group setting? If you had a group of 6, 10 people who would meet, you know, at a particular time schedule with somebody. Like say, I don't know, would the individual thing be more important, or would it be better to be there with people you consider your friends around you also?
Well, personally, I think it would be best to have either a mixture of both or the one-on-one time, just because me personally, no matter who's around me, I need the one-on-one to let everything out, because there's always going to be something I'm going to hold back, you know? So basically, when I do have that one-on-one time, anything that's on my mind, you know, if you ask me, I'll be able to talk to you if I try, you know, a lot easier than if we're sitting around a table like this, you know, and then we're saying, what happened this week, you know, what's on your mind, you know, I'm not going to be able to get it out because, one, everybody else has problems they want to talk about, and then, two, a lot of it you don't want to just share with everybody. Yeah, no?
Well, I'm pretty comfortable with a group because I feel like, you know, maybe someone else having the same problem that I'm having. I mean, someone else in the group can probably relate to me, and it's a way that one problem can resolve, two people problem can resolve at one time. I mean, it allows me to, as well as here in other situations I may encounter in the near future, that I can have a way of getting my problem resolved because I say, hey, he went through the same thing. Give me an inspiring way of how you overcame that. I mean, you know, but as like you said, individually, it gives me an opportunity to express everything that I'm feeling, not just one issue. I mean, everything that I'm feeling, all the problems that I'm having, because like he said, it's not enough. You know, it's not one person don't have enough ears to hear everyone, you know, and it's harder actually to get to, because maybe my situation takes up a little bit more time than yours will. So, I mean, that individual one-on-one meeting will be, I mean, it's very beneficial, but, you know, like I said, I don't have no problem speaking in the group because I'm a very outspoken person.
I think that we should have both. Just like he said, like, you know, some people may not be that comfortable, you know, to speak out in front of, like, other people, you know, but, I mean, these people, they would require one-on-one meeting, but like for some reason, for some questions, you know, like I may have a question that concerns me, and that same question, you know, concerns somebody else, but who would not ask it. So the fact that I ask that question will be of benefit to that other person. So I think that they should have both.
I think that that type of relationship do exist that you already spoke about, Nancy, because I can look at my high school experience as well as my junior high and elementary experience, as well as other people that I know, and there's always a certain teacher or instructor that a student just will automatically blend with, that they'll have a good relationship, and that relationship will go outside the classroom into future down the line, however how you have it. Because I have some teachers that I had in my elementary days that I'm still on real good friendship status with. You know, you see them, you talk, they ask you how you doing. You know each other's family and kids and friends and whatnot. So I think that same relationship individually still exists with a college student as well.
I'd like to follow with just a question. There's a direct correlation in research that shows that students who work in what they call community learning or go through a cohort program tend to retain, stay in school longer. They tend to have higher than normal GPAs than students that are not. Do you think that having a program like that would, how do you feel that something like that would affect our African American men? Would it be a positive, or you think they'd be okay either way, or what, in terms of being successful?
I think it'll be a success just because, well, partially just because I'm sort of living it, going to school here, but also because when you're in a cohort, you see the same people more often, and you get to have that bond with them, friendship bond, even more than a friendship bond, and in that way they can hold you accountable and call you up when you need help, and basically you can support each other. But a lot of times when you're just in a class and you guys meet each other once a week and you see 50 new faces a day, you don't get to know them, and you can just get lost in it, and a lot of times you just don't know where to go for help or any of that kind of stuff,
Well, those type of programs, they don't allow you to fail. I feel like, because you're around people who is not going to allow you to fail, regardless whether you feel like you're failing or not. They're going to say something. They're going to do something that's much uplifting. They're going to put a little time. I have friends around here. I feel like if I'm in a situation, I can always go to my friends. Even in this program we have here in the Learning Corner, I know that they're not going to let me fail. If I miss a day, people are going to call me and say, "Where are you at? What happened to you? Why aren't you here?" That type of thing helps a person be very successful, because, like I said, they're not going. And those type of programs, they don't look at your mistakes; they look at your success, and they're going to help you to be more successful, because they figure like, well, we all had our problems, but this program right here, we're going to make you a better person.
The next question that we have prepared here is, how many of you have a GED? Okay. Any comments about what that entailed and how the experiences you've had since receiving it?
Well, I have a GED, and I feel like once I got that GED, I felt like my engine was running. I was ready to go for it. I was ready to keep going. For a long time, I felt like, I really want to get my GED. I just didn't have no place comfortable go and take it. I felt like, well, maybe I'm getting too old for it. And, well, maybe I'm not smart enough to get it. Maybe I'll go in here and, waste their time and my time too. But like when I came here, the sky was the limit. I felt like, okay, I got my GED. I was successful in that, so I can keep going. So there's so much I can do after that. Limiting myself just to a GED was just limiting myself just out of high school. If I wasn't going to get a GED, I was just going to stop at a GED, I might as well, what's the sense of getting a GED if I'm going to stop there? I must keep going. I try to motivate other people around me. I have friends that doesn't have their GED, and I feel like I can be an inspiration to them. They say, okay, well, I didn't graduate from high school, so, I'm like, well, GED, that's another way of you can keep your success going, because you feel like you can get a GED, you can keep going. That don't mean because you didn't graduate from high school, you still have opportunity out there. It's programs here that are going to help you, besides just living with, a high school dropout. I got my GED. I was a dropout, and I got my GED, and I felt so much better. I felt like, things was opening up for me. Opportunity was there.
I guess I have a follow-up question. Do you feel that the GED is the equivalent of a high school diploma? Does it compare, or is there a difference?
was over here. Oh, go ahead.
Well, that question is hard to really debate or argue with, because the educational system says it's the same, it's worth the same standard as far as completion go. I think the difference is the high school experience you get with your GED, well, I mean with your diploma, shows years and years of constant work, school attendance, the different school activities that go with that. For someone that probably earned their GED, they've missed out on some type of high school experience. So, yeah, and what I meant by that the educational system says it's the same is that I guess they put it in the same category. If you get a GED, then you're eligible for whatever benefits or whatever a person with a high school diploma is eligible for. You're eligible to enlist into the military, eligible to get a job, eligible to attend college. That's what I meant by that. I saw some faces when I said that they were on the same status, so I just wanted to, yeah.
Sorry. My understanding of a GED is it does show you completion of college, completion of high school, but it doesn't necessarily get you into college. If you have a GED, can you go to a four-year college? Can you apply for entry to a four-year college? Or do you need to complete a two-year degree as a significant, sort of as a noting that you accomplished completion before you can go into a four-year college? I don't, I guess that's my question. GEDs help you, but it's not, doesn't have near the stature that a high school diploma has because of trying to get into colleges. What's been your experience?
Well, because I want to go to a major university. I mean, and I knew that once I accomplished my GED, I didn't have that opportunity right then and there. As well as I would have went ahead and graduated from high school, I would have had the opportunity to go anywhere in the country. I mean, with a good GPA, I could have went anywhere. I could advance my, my learning level a little quicker. But I mean, as a GED, I have to go through a 2-year session showing that I'm, that I have that, intelligence and maybe to make it up in a university. I mean, but it's a big difference. I mean, you don't get to have that big jump as a high school diploma as you do a GED, but that shouldn't stop you from completing. That shouldn't say, okay, well, because I got a GED, that don't means I'm any less, have any less knowledge than the next person do. I mean, yeah, okay, well, you may go into a university and I'm going to a community college, but I mean, success is basically built on what you make it. I mean, you want to be I mean, I can go through this 2-year terms and then be very successful, and I can maybe get a transcript to any college that I want to. I mean, but it's a big difference. It's a major difference.
Can I add on that? Even with the GED or the high school diploma, you can complete high school with a high school diploma with a D average. So if you don't, even having a high school diploma don't necessarily get you into a college, especially a 4-year university. From my experience, I even had to take the AccuPlacer test before I was able to get into the curriculum that I chose. And that was based on, I guess, my high school, not necessarily my high school diploma. I had been out of school for so long that I had lost a lot of the knowledge that I had learned. So I had to get some refresher courses before I was able to go into the curriculum. I graduated with a high school diploma, but that would not have gotten me into the University of Michigan because I didn't have the grades. A person with a GED, I guess that might be the standard that they have to go to the 2-year university before they can go to a major university. But they might even have the knowledge to complete the university stuff right off the top. I guess it goes to what the individual knows as far as what they've learned. I learned something here today. I didn't learn much else. I learned that.
Anybody else? Dave, you want to ask the next question?
Oh, yeah, okay.
This will be our last question that we'll ask, and then we want to respect your time, and we want to give you an opportunity to speak to us and let us know what your thoughts are. So, go ahead.
How about 15? Yeah. Okay. What do you see as your role as a parent? Oh, this would have to. You can't do that one. Okay. Maybe the other question is, and this is something I run into a lot because I'm faculty at the college, is are you working, and if so, full-time or part-time, and how does that affect your education?
Well, I work full-time, and I go to school part-time, and I feel like working, I mean, it doesn't give me the opportunity to put as much time into my education as I like. I mean, because simple fact, I have to put meals on the table for myself. I mean, but you know, I feel like an education will allows me to get a bigger portion. You know, I can eat much better once I get that degree, as if, I mean, you know, without one. And it takes a while away from a lot of my studying time as well, a lot of my time that I want to invest in more classes. I mean, because I would like to take up more classes, but I'm unable to because, simple fact, I have to make bread and butter. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, it's not easy balancing work and school. I mean, I even tried to make it part-time, but I feel like, you know, I wasn't getting enough, you know, financially. I wasn't able to afford that. So I figured, well, I maybe have to shorten my schooling in order to survive out in society today, you know, and that takes away a lot because I feel like I'm missing out a lot. I can accomplish more if I could work part-time, but I'm not able to work part-time because financially it wouldn't allow me to, you know.
I go to school full time and I work part time on campus. So I work as a work study student. I'm grateful, you know, because I received the support of my parents, you know, as far as my study concerns. And you know, on campus, you know, it kind of allowed me to give more time to my studies because the hours of my work, you know, they are so flexible, you know, that, you know, I have the opportunity to meet every deadline, you know, that I have as far as assignment, presentation, and, you know, study, whatever I have to do. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, I work full time and I attend school. It's difficult for me. Because of the other commitments that I got, family, bills, then trying to take classes, then I got to take the classes around my work schedule, trying to get sleep, trying to find time to study. I was recently told that I should put so many hours into study for each class, and that alone is a full-time job. So what I really wanted to say in regards to that question was for the younger guys that's here, take advantage of the time now to get your education, because if you wait 20 years from now, it's going to be tougher. You know, you're going to lose a lot of the knowledge that you have, trying to find the schedule in, trying to make everybody else around you happy while you're studying or at work and not having time for yourself and your family. It gets very stressful and be very difficult. So take advantage of it now.
Thank you. Now, what we'd like to do is thank you on behalf of our Sequin Group Continuous Quality Improvement Network team under the direction of our President Juan Alvarez and Donna Kroc, the Dean of Institutional Research and Planning at Grand Rapids Community College. I'd like to say thank you for your time. Now, we'd like to give you an opportunity to ask Grand Rapids Community College staff and administration some questions, the faculty some questions in terms of, as African American young men, what is it you'd like to tell us? What's on your heart? How can you be more successful, and how can we better support you? So if you all could just, you know, give that some thought. We definitely want to be a learning-centered institution.
Well, my basic question is just that: are there any other plans or anything moving towards making more learning corners or anything towards that same idea? Because I think that it's probably a big help to anybody that would come into the doors, would really get a lot of knowledge and support from more places like the Learning Corner.
I can answer that just briefly. There are some conversations right now regarding building some learning corners. There was some conversations about having 4 learning corners in 4 quadrants of the city. But right now, I believe our Provost, Dr. Velby Green, shared with me that they're looking at another site on the west side to support more of our students. So.
Well, I just want to say, keep up the good work. I mean, this is on my behalf, and I know I speak for others. That I mean, this is very appreciative. I mean, because of the fact, just having the opportunity to sit up here and share, my problems and my issues with you guys, and you listen and giving me good support. That's very motivating. I mean, like he said, we need more learning corners. I mean, we need more people in our community like you guys, just that help us get through those trials and tribulations. And I mean, I'm very appreciative for everything I've been blessed with from you guys. I mean, even just a listening ear. I mean, that's a good thing, because it's things on my chest that I can't say because sometimes there's no one there to listen. And just having you guys around to listen to me, I mean, that's more helpful. I can leave here with, a ton of weight off my shoulders now that, I mean, it's an issue that I address, hasn't been heard. I mean, it may not go through the doors, but just a simple fact, it's been heard from the staff heard it. I mean, you guys is putting more than 100% effort. I see, especially Mr. Burt. I see him doing 100%, and I mean, that's very appreciative on my behalf, because I didn't have nowhere to go before I came here. Before I came here, I felt like, I was moving at a slow pace. I felt like, success was taking too long to come. But once I came here, I met you, you showed me so many good ways and so many opportunities. I mean, you helped me out so much. I felt like, this was a blessing for me to come here. And so I try to bring my friends and family, those who didn't have that opportunity, that, this is a comfortable place you can come to and speak to. If you have any issues, you want to get your GED, you want to continue to go to college, this is the place where it starts. And I mean, like I said, you don't have to jump on that fast-moving train. It's people here that will help you jump on and gradually build up your skills and your knowledge, and then you're able to succeed in that. So once again, I thank you guys.
Yeah, I agree with you, Al. I really appreciate the Learning Corner. Prior to me enrolling in school, I didn't even know the Learning Corner existed. And the experience I've had here, as well as the main campus, has been a wonderful experience. It's something that I appreciate, because everybody here treats you like family. The small settings, but it's an open session to where you can really learn. You got time to get instruction from the instructors. Mr. Burt, you do a good job here. I'm just very grateful and thankful that the Learning Corner exists, because I know that with them thinking about putting another one on the west side, that it'd probably be some more satellite centers out on the East Belt line and out in Kentwood area, as well as Ada. When you got a good thing, it builds, and I can see it really taking off and continuing. So, like Al said, keep up the good work, and God bless you all.
Thank you.
I do not really have a question, for the staff, because so far as I've been satisfied, with the service that the college, provided to me, and as I am, doing my last semester, I'm kind of regretted that I've waited this long, to know about your guys, because yeah, seriously, because I think it's been the second group, that I've sit, with around the table just to discuss about, the issues, that are affecting us, as students of the Grand Rapids Community College. And I do have my little brothers, they may come here too, and I will not fail, to refer them to you guys, because this is very wonderful work that you do. And I thank Mr. Dye for inviting me, because without him I wouldn't know about that. I thank you a lot.
Thank you. We're done. Is there anything else as we wrap up? No. Thank you all very much.